Hey, welcome to another episode of the Philosophy Podcast. I am your host, Controversy, and to my right, ladies and gentlemen, my co-host, none other than Mr.
Darren Love,
aka Batman.
Yeah.
And together we are the Philosophy Podcast. Thank you for tuning in to another episode. Thank you for tuning in once again this week, guys. And yeah, as we always say, what is on the agenda for today, mate? What is today's hot topic?
I thought we'd talk about childhood and and upbringing. I'll take this off now. I just thought that would be a bit childish to start off the show.
Well, considering that we're going to be speaking about childhood and upbringing, I think it's probably quite fitting and quite applicable, mate.
Yeah.
But yeah, without further ado, what are your thoughts and what are your opinions and what are your experiences of childhood and upbringing?
Well, we were all a child once, weren't we?
Yes, voila.
Not long ago, really, when I think about it, you know.
No.
I mean, I'm 57 now, and you know, when I think about my childhood, it's there, isn't it? So,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
wherever your childhood was,
Yeah.
you can't change it.
No, it is what it is, yeah.
I
Regardless of whether
I
or not
wish I
it's
could
good or
go
bad.
back, you know,
Yeah.
I wish I could go back in time, you know, and change things, you know. I think I would have skived off school more often, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And kissed more girls and things like that, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, but you can't go back.
Nah.
You know, I mean, I know more, a lot more, than
Yeah.
I did then in my childhood, do you know what I mean?
But as they say, mate, life is a journey, not a destination, you know? So, you know? Yeah.
That we're, you know, it's interesting, isn't it? You know, like the childhood. I think we've all had a slightly different childhood, but
Yeah.
we're kind of all the same, aren't we? You know, children are kind of basically the same when you think about it, aren't they?
Yeah.
You know, they play and,
Yeah.
you know, they're all kind of the same.
Yeah.
You know, if you look at like 25-year-olds in a classroom, you know, and you put them out to play, you know, they're all kind of the same. You know, they only start changing slowly in time as they get a bit older.
Yes.
You know, they become a bit more individual.
Of course, yeah. Their character and personality and everything else starts to develop, and they really, you know.
Yeah, you know, like, I mean, like some children with art, say for instance, you know, they're painting. Some slightly a little bit better, you know, maybe they're, you know, I'm talking about a 5-year-old child here.
Yeah.
Like they've had better parents, you know, like I say, it's really important, really, that the parents, before having a baby or a child, that they kind of, they know what they're doing.
Oh, of course, yeah, it's essential.
You know, it's no good if they don't know what they're doing.
Oh, of course, yes,
You know,
it is, yeah.
You think about how many times that there's a lot of people having babies out there, and they really not ready for it, or
Sad but true, yeah.
if you sort of mean. You know, it's
and it's wonderful though. Me being a parent, right, mate? I've been present in my kids' life from the beginning up until their current point now. You know what I mean? Obviously, because you know me and my wife been together now 12 years. But being able to watch your child grow, and you know from looking after your child from the time they were born, from the time you know your wife conceived. You know, you and your your wife, you know, taking, you know, it's a wonderful process watching them from, you know, grow from it literally from a tiny human being into, my son's 10 now, so for example, so you know, watching the evolution and the progression of my son, how he's changed and how he's evolved and how he's really, his character's developed, his personality, he's really, you know, becoming who he is as a person and, you know, living life and having experiences and memories and etc. and just being able to watch that evolution. The same with my daughter. She's coming up. She's almost 5 now. But just being able to watch her as well from a child up to this point is just, it's a wonderful thing. Like it's hard for me to understand why some people would not want to be present in their kids' lives. You know, I think so many people out there are. You know, and I just want to say as well, I don't want to go too far off topic and divert too far, but if you are a father out there that you know, has not had any communication or anything with your child, and kind of, you know, for whatever reason, whatever the case may be, just try your best. Just try your best to be present in your child's life in some way, shape, or form. Even if you and the mother are no longer together, and you've got separate lives, and whatever the case may be, you know, you might have different, she might have a new partner, you might have a new partner, whatever. Just try your best to try to maintain as much of a relationship with your children as possible, because both parents are very important. Both have a different dynamic, and both have different responsibilities and different things that they can teach and instill in their children.
Right.
There's a balance. You know, you've got to have the balance in the home. You know, it's very important. So I just want to encourage all the men out there, that if you're not present in your kid's life right now, and there is a chance that you can be present, but you're in fear because maybe you haven't communicated for a long time, or something's not gone wrong, you know, relationship's gone bad, something's not gone right, then just try your best to mend that and fix that, because I promise you that your child will appreciate that more than anything in the world, you know, especially if they're a young child, you know. It's a bit hard, it gets harder the older they get. So if they're very young, and then they're kind of, you know, they're young, and you've got that chance that, you know, you can see your child or be able to have contact or some kind of a good relationship with your child, then try your best to do that, because it's very important, you know.
I think everybody, you know, again, everyone's circumstances is completely
different.
You know?
Yeah.
You know, like you think, like when you meet a woman, you know, I mean, I've had a number of relationships, yeah. And every woman I meet is a little bit different.
Oh, of course,
you know,
yeah.
They're a little bit the same, but they're different, you know. And I think every relationship's different, you know. You know, it's, you know, like you're talking about sort of like, I mean, my case, I've not seen my daughter for 8 years.
Yeah.
You know, and we used to be so close when she was a child, do you know what I mean? She used to sort of like jump on me and just tell her stories, you know. We used to be so close. You can separate us. Do you know what I mean? But what's happened to me is sort of like I went through divorce, went to court afterwards to get custody of my own children, which is, I find ridiculous. You've got to go to court to try to see your own children.
Yeah.
What's that all about?
Crazy, yeah.
You know, and I think, hang on, you know, you shouldn't have to go to court. It should be sort of like, you know, automatic. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But anyway, you know, I went to court and I had custody of them for 2 years. And then I had a bit of a brain seizure on my 40th birthday, whatever. Then I was on medication. I told my ex-wife about the medication I was on at that time. And she took my kids away. Right?
Okay.
You know, and I couldn't do nothing about it. Do you know what I mean? She took my rights away.
Yeah.
You know, and this is when my daughter was only age 8 or 9. Do you know what I mean?
I know.
You know, I've not seen my children since, you know, and it really breaks my heart. You know, you're talking about just now, you know, like if you're a father, you know, try your best to get close to your children, but I feel like my children are dead now, my 2 youngest. Do you know what I mean? I've not seen them for a long time.
Yeah.
My oldest son I see.
But that's why, even when I said what I said just now, that's why I said if. That's why I put the if bit in there. That's why.
So I think like
that's why, because like you said, that in my head straight away, I was thinking, of course, everyone's circumstances are different, you know.
It is.
And I know everything's not always ideal. That's why I was saying if you've got the chance.
Can you imagine you've got a daughter.
Yeah.
And someone, you know, your wife. Took your rights away from her, or somehow, or what it make you do. It made me go crazy, do you know what I mean? But what don't, you know, this is one reason why I'm so powerful today, do you know what I mean? What don't kill you
can make you stronger.
Make you stronger, do you know what I mean? And it really hurts me to this day that I miss my daughter so much, you know, and it's like, you know, my ex-wife has cut us in half in a kind of way, you know, and I'm not allowed to see him anymore, you know, and I'm out of their life, I'm not even, do you know what I mean? It's horrible. I feel like a ghost, do you know what I mean? I mean, my purpose in life really was to enjoy myself and have children, do you know what I mean?
Of course,
and give them everything. And put a lot of energy, I put a lot of energy into my children, do you know what I mean?
Of course.
And it's all gone, do you know what I mean? Gone. And I can't believe it, you know, this is the world we're living in today, you know, it's the government and the system we're actually living in separates so many families, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
You know, and there's people can't do much about it, you know.
Yeah, it's true, yeah.
You know, I mean, I mean, the last time I spoke to my daughter was 8 years ago, and I said hi to her from across the road. And then 3 days later, 3 police come in with cameras on and took me in. You know, and they was like, you know, do you know what I mean? And I said hi to my daughter. Do you know what I mean? I didn't kill anyone or anything like that. You know, I just hi to my daughter because I've not seen her for a while. You know, and I think, hang on, you know, they can't arrest you for things like that. But I did get a letter a week before, right, because I had a junction on me, right? And I didn't really read that letter, do you know what I mean? I only just got it.
Yeah.
You know, because I got an injunction because I accidentally broke a tiny little window because I was trying to deliver a birthday card, which had lots of money, not a lot of money, but I didn't want to put it through the post. Yeah. And I've not seen my daughter for a while. Seen my son quite a lot, you know. So I go around there trying to deliver a birthday card, and she's not there. So I go back 2 hours later, and I have an argument with my ex-wife. She shuts the door in my face really hard, and I sort of, you know, sort of tap the window like this, a little bit too hard maybe, because I was a little bit angry, and it broke. Okay. But I'm telling you now, that double glazing shouldn't have broke.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's double glazing.
Yeah.
You know, I know all about double glazing. And, you know, you could put a hammer on it, it won't break, you know, but it must have had a little hairline fracture on it, whatever, and it broke.
Yeah.
It cut my hand up, alright. Then the police come, arrest me for that. And then a week later I got an injunction, you know, a letter, which I didn't really read, whatever. And then I said hi to my daughter from across the road, sort of a couple of weeks after that, you know, I went round there on my birthday. And, you know, I lost, you know, I completely lost, you know, it's disgusting, if you ask me. And I'm a very loving man, do you know what I mean? I used to tell him stories every night.
Yeah.
You know, and I think, hang on, this can happen to the kindest of people out there, seriously. You know, you can be the kindest person in the world and you can lose your children. That's the truth of it. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
You know?
That's true.
I love children, do you know what I mean? I love all children, to be honest with you. I love children all around the world.
Yeah.
And especially my own. And I love my children so much, you know, I got to know them, do you know what I mean? You get to know them, don't you?
Of course, yeah.
You know, they're born, and then when they're 1 year old, you know a little bit more. They've got a bit of a personality by then.
Of course, yeah. They're already starting to,
You know, and then by the time they're sort of 3 or 4, you start realising they actually look like you too. Do you know what I mean? They're like little clones.
Their features start to develop more and more, and they start,
little used. Do you know what I mean?
Minis, yeah.
You know, but like having a child is like having an extra leg in a way. You know, you know, it's there for life.
Oh, of course,
You've got to feed it.
Yeah,
until it's independent.
Yeah,
basically.
Exactly. It goes from being fully dependent for a number of years to slowly becoming independent in different ways. You know, as time progresses. You know.
I mean, that's really what you got to do with a child. Really, is teach them everything. So they can survive in life and become independent, basically. Yes. With a smile, I suppose, you know. So their life's not so difficult when they get older. Do you know what I mean? I mean, if a child's not had no upbringing at all, they're going to have a difficult life, I think.
Yeah.
You know, they're going to find life hard. But I think, like, you do kind of like, you know, like me and, you know, you, for instance, I lost my dad. And having it hard without a dad in a kind of way, you know, not having that kind of love, hards you up in a kind of way.
Of course, yeah.
You know, different ways, you know, makes you sort of, you know, I don't know, just makes you stronger, I suppose, you know.
Yeah.
When you learn to understand it in a kind of way, you know, because when I was a child, I think, as I was sort of growing up, I realised that, you know, my mum and dad was divorced, I'm not, my dad's not here, do you know what I mean? I started learning that, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and accepting it.
And my dad used to sort of love my brother a lot more.
Okay, yeah.
And it's quite fair enough, really, you think about it, you know, my brother's 2 years older than me, so he's had that little bit more time with him before we did separate, if you see what I mean, you know, to get to know him. But he used to sort of buy my brother birthday cards every year and forget about me.
Yeah.
You know, I found that quite hurting.
Of course, yeah, yeah, especially as a young child.
Well, as a child does, you know, and I think like her, even though it hurts you at the time, will make you stronger.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
But sometimes for some people, not always in a good way though, mate.
Well,
sometimes for some people, because they experience so much hurt and so much trauma, they end up building up barriers, if you see what I mean. Stop people, they refuse to allow anyone into their lives, if you see what I mean, in a way, if you see what I mean, because
I've got a lot of barriers in my life now, when I see it, after my experiences, do you know what I mean?
But it's understandable, but it's about overcoming that trauma, you know, trying to overcome the trauma and trying your best to move on, you know, because your happiness is also important at the end of the day, you know, as well, you know.
I mean, when I look at my childhood, I did have a lovely childhood, but like, so I didn't really like my school too much, you know. Sometimes I did, you know, depending what year it was or what, you know, what class or, you know. It's all different, I suppose, each year, isn't it, at school, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that I had a really fun childhood once I got out of school.
Yeah.
But when I look at my upbringing, you know, I think that my mum or my parent, you know, they did sort of like dress me, and they gave me manners, you know, things like that, and fed me well. But I was a bit wild, you know, and they didn't teach me about sex and all this kind of stuff, do you know what I mean? You know, and I think like all these kind of things are important again.
Of course, yeah.
And like we were talking about last week, you know, how people are allowed to get married, you know, girls are allowed to get married at the age of 16. And I think that's a little bit, you know, like you really...
Is 16
you know,
or 18 in the UK?
16, you know.
Okay, that's crazy.
But I think it's a bit odd really, like you think like you're supposed, you know, like you're supposed to have sex before marriage, aren't you? Yeah.
No, they say no marriage before sex. If you're Bible believing Christian or, you know, some other faith as well, they believe in no sex before marriage. That, you know, that.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're allowed to get married. That's right, yeah.
You have to get. You can have. Yeah.
Sex before marriage. I've got it all
yeah,
wrong.
you got it. No, just back. No, but of course, but that's why we.
Well, that's what I believe in. Isn't it?
Yeah.
That's my theory.
Yeah.
You know, you got to try it, haven't you, before you get married to it. Buy it. You know what I mean? Haven't you got to try it?
You can't say buy it, mate.
Well, you kind of way, you know, marriage is kind of like brawl. You know, you buy each other in kind of way.
Yeah, I know what you mean. But I don't want people to misinterpret like. Yeah.
No, you buy each other, I think.
Yeah. But that's what, if you're you know, religious in that sense, that's what they believe, you know.
But I think it's a bit, you know, like it's crazy, you know, like getting married at that age.
Yeah.
Then you're allowed to have sex, and you probably have allowed children, alright. But having a baby at 16, you know, you are a baby at 16, for goodness sake. But I know you're not going to like, you know, like if you hear that, but you're virtually a baby almost. That's how I think about it. You know, when I think about when I was 16, I was kind of a baby in a kind of way of what I know now. Do you know what I mean? It's still quite a young age, and it's 16. It's not far from 10, is it?
No, not at all, mate. Not at all. Not at all.
You know, and you think like getting married at that age, and then having a family. You know, like my mum did. You know, she had so she was married at 16. She was engaged at 13. Right? She had my brother at 18. Me on her 20th birthday. Do you know what I mean? And you think she didn't know what she's doing.
Yeah.
You know, some people might, you know, because they've had the right upbringing.
Yeah.
You know, that's what's important, really, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Like being taught all this stuff, you know, about all these things like marriage. You know, they don't really talk about it or teach you at school, do they?
Yeah.
I don't think. You know, they just sort of like.
A lot of schools just teach just basic academic curriculum, you know. They don't really teach life skills, things that are really going to be important for kids when they leave school. Because some people, they not only do they start school at 5, but some people also, obviously, once they finish secondary school at 16, some people go to college and then go to university. So by the time they leave school, you know, they've already spent 20 years at school. If you see what I mean. you know. Yeah.
I think you start going to school about 5 or 6.
About 5, yeah. Well, 4 generally. But it depends on when you're born, of course. I know here in the UK, if you're born after a certain point in September, you have to go when you're 5. If you see, I mean, you're born after the school year. Like my daughter, she's going to be 5. When she starts school, she'll be 5. You know. So yeah.
So I can see like the importance of schools in a kind of way, you know, where it. But I find it like it's not as good as it should be today, you know. Like they should teach philosophy.
Yeah, more basic life skills.
Teach, you know, like upbringing.